मंगलमय मंगल करण वीतराग विज्ञान नमो ताहि जाते भये अरिहंतादि महान करि मंगल करि हो महा ग्रंथ करण को काज जाते मिले समाज सब पावे निज पद राज। So sorry for being late. We'll start from page number 124. Misconjecture about good and bad. So we'll begin from here, and in this particular topic, there are 3 levels of signs of discrimination. Okay, so one by one we will study first level of discriminative knowledge, then second level, and then the third level. And this is the only place where Pandit Todarmal ji has shown all the 3 levels simultaneously at the same place. Otherwise, he goes up to karmas only. But here, there are all 3 levels of signs of discrimination being displayed here in this particular topic. Just a minute. So this is misconjecture about good and bad, that is east uneast ki mithya kalpana. Okay, so yesterday we had studied about the nature of wrong conduct. Okay, keeping in line with that only, this topic is also a part of mithya charitra or nature of wrong conduct. Okay, so when we talk of wrong conduct, mithya charitra, then it means that we are talking about charitra monia karma, which is conduct deluding karma, and all the 25 passions are included in this. Okay, so misconjecture about good and bad. So Priyanka ji, you read. Okay, Prinal ji, you read.
Yes, sir. Misconjecture about good and bad. The passional dispositions are produced owing to believing the substance is either good or bad. But believing good or bad is also false, because no substance is good or bad. The same is being explained here. That which is pleasurable and beneficial to us is termed good, and that which is distressing and unbeneficial is termed bad. In the universe, all substances are the producer of their individual natural functions only. None is pleasurable or distressing, beneficial or unbeneficial to anybody. This Jiva himself, in his thoughts, by believing them pleasurable, beneficial, owes them to be agreeable, or knows them bad by believing them distressing and unbeneficial. For the same substance appears to be good to someone and bad to someone. For example, one who does not get the cloth, to him a coarse cloth appears to be good, and the one who gets the fine cloth, to him the coarse cloth appears to be bad. To swine, etc. The feces appears to be good, and to celestial being, etc., it appears to be bad. To someone, the thorns appear to be good, and to someone, it appears to be bad. Similarly, other examples are to be understood. And in the same way, to some jiva, one substance appears to be good in some particular instant, and the same substance appears to be bad in some other particular instant. Moreover, it should be known that this jiva considers chiefly a particular substance to be good, but the same substance sometimes appears to be bad. For example, the body is agreeable, but when it gets diseased, then it becomes disagreeable. The sun, etc., are agreeable, but under some circumstances they appear to be disagreeable. And those objects which this jiva chiefly considers to be disagreeable appears to be agreeable sometimes. For example, an abuse usually is unagreeable, but the same appears to be agreeable in father-in-law's house. Thus, beneficiality, harmfulness are not the characteristics of substance. Had there been beneficiality, harmfulness in the substance, then the substance which would have been beneficial by itself, it should be beneficial to all. And which would have been harmful by itself, it should be harmful to all. But it is not so. This jiva himself believes them in this imagination to be beneficial or harmful. So this imagination is false. Further, the substance which appears to be pleasurable, beneficial. Yes.
Yeah. So this is the first level of discriminative knowledge. Under this, there are 2 points, A and B. Okay. So the A point begins from that which is pleasurable and beneficial to us is termed good, and that which is distressing and unbeneficial is termed bad. Okay. So we are into the previous page right now. You can take it slightly up. Yes. Previous page. So here we are. Okay. So in reality, no substance is good or bad, but which we feel that is beneficial to us, we term as good, and which we feel that it is not beneficial to us, which term is bad. In the universe, all substances are the producer of their individual natural functions only. None is pleasurable or distressing, okay, beneficial or unbeneficial to anybody. This Jiva himself, in his thoughts, by believing them pleasurable, beneficial, knows them to be agreeable, or knows them bad by believing them distressing and unbeneficial. For same substance appears to be good to someone and bad to someone. So yesterday we also discussed this, and we are into continuation of that only, that here it's very specifically, it's mentioned here that substance itself is not good or bad. So same substance sometimes, same substance is good for somebody and bad for somebody. And yesterday we had thought of the example of rain. So rain for the farmer is beneficial, and the same rain for the potter, okay, is unbeneficial. So rain in itself is not beneficial and unbeneficial. It's on the particular individual that how he sees it, and that what it makes it beneficial or unbeneficial to him. So here again 3 examples are given. First example, a person who does not get the cloth, to him a coarse cloth. Coarse cloth means thick cloth, mota kapda, appears to be good because he does not get the cloth. So any type of cloth will do for him. And the one who gets the fine cloth, to him the coarse cloth appears to be bad. So cloth is cloth, but for one, the same coarse cloth is beneficial or good, and for the other it is bad. Okay. Similarly, in the second example, to swine, etc., the faces appears to be good, and to celestial being, it appears to be bad. Third example, to someone the torrents appear to be good, and to someone it appears to be bad. Similarly, other examples are to be understood. So this is the first point, A point. Right? Now the B point. And in the same way, to some jiva, one substance appears to be good, and in some particular instant, the same substance appears to be bad. In some other particular instant, okay? Moreover, it should be known that this jiva considers chiefly a particular substance to be good, but the same substance sometimes appear to be bad. For example, the body is agreeable, okay, but when it gets diseased, then it becomes disagreeable. The sun, etc., are agreeable, but under some circumstances they appear to be disagreeable. And those objects which this jiva chiefly considers to be disagreeable appear to be agreeable sometime. For example, an abuse usually is unagreeable, but the same appears to be agreeable in father-in-law's house. So there was a tradition earlier that when a marriage used to take place, so this kind of abuse was given in the songs prepared during the marriage, and there they used to just simply abuse, but nobody would take it or mind it because it was a tradition at that point of time. So same abuse, it's sometimes unagreeable, but it appears agreeable when it is done in father-in-law's house. Thus, beneficiality or harmfulness are not the characteristics of the substance. Had there been beneficiality, harmfulness in the substance, then the substance which would have been beneficial by itself, it should be beneficial to all. And which would have been harmful by itself, it should be harmful to all. But it is not so. This jiva himself believes them in his imagination to be beneficial or harmful. So this imagination is false. So this is the end of the first level of descriptive knowledge, where we are considering the external objects as beneficial or unbeneficial. But in reality, no object is beneficial or unbeneficial. Okay. So this was the first level. So in the first level, as we have studied in 4 divisions of Vyavaharnai, okay, the first one, the matter of the first substance, the first viewpoint is that the kingdom, the queen, the children, our possessions, our shop, our residence are all external objects to the soul and also external objects to the body. And when we consider all these as our own, then it's a conventional viewpoint. Okay, from conventional viewpoint, we say that this is my house, this is my shop, this is my car, but in reality, nothing belongs to us. Okay, so this is the first level where we remove our focus from the external objects. So this first level of descriptive knowledge helps us in removing our thought and the focus from external objects. Okay. And in the second level, we will discuss the karma. And then in the third level, we will discuss the attachments, aversions, and all kinds of passions. So these are the 3 levels. So in the first level, we have seen that no objects is beneficial or unbeneficial. Object is object itself, okay? But because of this jiva in his thoughts, by believing something as beneficial and something as unbeneficial, he considers them to be agreeable or non-agreeable. But in reality, it is not so, okay? So this is the first level. Now the second level, so we will do the discriminative knowledge with karma, okay? So for removing the external objects, we brought in between the karma. And in the third level, we will also remove karma. And then we will consider the dispositions that is being manifested in us to be the chief cause of our misery, okay? So let's see first the second level and then we will move on to the third level. So starting from further, you have to read and
Further, the substance which appears to be pleasurable, beneficial, or distressing. Unbeneficial is not of its own, but due to the rise of punya pap karmas. The one who has got the rise of punya, merit karma to him, the association of substances is found to be pleasurable, beneficial. And the one who has got the rise of pap, demerit karma to him, the association of substances is found to be distressing, unbeneficial. This is practically found to be so. To someone, wife, son, etc. are pleasurable, and to someone are distressing. Someone earns profit by doing the business, and someone gets lost. To someone, even the foes become slaves, and to someone, even the son become inimical. Therefore, it is ascertained that the substance do not become good or bad on their own, but they act according to the rise of karmas. As the servants, according to their master's order, produce good or bad situations to someone, then it is not the work of the servants, but the work of their master. If someone considers the servants only to be good or bad, then it is wrong. Similarly, if the substances associated due to the rise of karmas produce good or bad situations to jiva according to karmas, then it is not the work of the substances. It is the work of karmas. If someone believes the substances only to be good or bad, then it is wrong. Hence, this is proved that indulging in attachment, aversion, feeling by believing the substance to be good or bad is a fallacy.
so stop.
Question.
So this
The
is the end of second level, okay? So earlier we were discussing external object to be beneficial and harmful. Now we are considering karma either to be beneficial or harmful. But in reality, no substance, no external substance is beneficial or harmful, and no karma is good or bad for us, okay? So depending on the rise of karmas, okay, we consider them to be good or bad, okay? So further, the substance which appears to be pleasurable, beneficial, or distressing, unbeneficial, is not of its own, but due to the rise of punya pap karma. So we are not now considering external objects to be beneficial or distressing. Instead of that, we are considering now the individual's punya and pap karma, rise of punya and pap karma. The one who has got the rise of punya karma to him, the association of substance is found to be pleasurable, beneficial. And the one who has got the rise of pap karma to him, the association of substance is found to be distressing, unbeneficial. This is practically found to be so. To someone, wife, son, etc. are pleasurable. To someone are distressing. So for whom they are pleasurable? The one who is having a rise of punya karma, for them it is pleasurable. But those who have a rise of pap karma, inauspicious karma, for them it is distressing. So that wife and son by itself is neither beneficial nor harmful. But depending on the karma, it appears to be beneficial or harmful. Okay. Someone earns profit by doing the business and someone gets loss. Same reason, because of punya and pap karma. To someone, even the foes become slaves. So here slaves means those act under their guidance. Okay. So he was a foe in reality, but now he has become agreeable to us. And to someone, even the sun becomes inimical. Inimical means unbeneficial. Okay. So even the sun, which is considered to be beneficial, becomes unbeneficial. Therefore, it is ascertained that the substance do not become good or bad on their own, but they act according to the rise of karmas. Okay. So substance itself is not good or bad, but the kind of karmas that is into that but it depends on the rise of the karmas. If it is an auspicious karma, then the substance will be beneficial to you. And if it is a inauspicious karma, rise of inauspicious karma, then the same substance would be unbeneficial. As the servants, according to their master's order, produce good or bad situation to someone. So the servants act according to their master. Okay. They themselves don't have any feeling of doing good or bad to others, but just because he is working for his master, he has to follow the instruction of the master. Okay. As the servant, according to their master order, produce good or bad situation to someone, then it is not the work of the servants, but is the work of their master. If someone considers the servants only to be good or bad, then again it is wrong. Okay. Similarly, if the substance associated due to rise of karmas produce good or bad situation to jiva according to karmas, then it is not the work of the substance. It is the work of karmas. Okay. So in the first level, we were considering the external objects as beneficial or harmful. Now we are considering the karmas as to be the cause of beneficial and harmful. So this is the second level. If someone believes the substance only to be good or bad, then it is wrong. Hence, this is proof that indulging in attachment, aversion feeling by believing the substance to be good or bad is a fallacy, is a delusion. Okay. So we have completed 2 levels. So initially, we removed our focus from external substance to karma. And now in the 3rd level, we will also remove our focus from karma and consider our own dispositions to be the chief cause of our happiness and sorrow. Okay. So that is the 3rd level. And it begins with a question. And Darshitji, you read now.
Okay, question. The association of external objects is caused due to the instrumentality of karmas. Then should we have attachment, aversion, feeling in the karmas? Answer. The karmas are material, inanimate matter, particles. They have no desire to give pleasure or pain. Moreover, they on their own do not turn into karmic form, but assume the karmic form due to the instrumentality of his (impure dispositions). For example, if someone breaks his head by picking stone in his hand, then what is the fault of the stone? Similarly, if this Jeev harms himself by turning the matter particles into karmic form by means of his attachment, etc., impure dispositions, then what is the fault of the karmas? Therefore, it is wrong to entertain the feeling of attachment, aversion in karmas even. Thus, having attachment, aversion feeling in other objects by considering them good or bad is wrong. Had the other objects been good or bad, and if he used to feel attachment, aversion towards them, then it would have not been termed to be wrong. Those objects are not good or bad, but this Jeev, mundane being entertains the feeling of attachment, aversion towards them by considering them good or bad. That is why this type of conduct is described to be wrong, and the conduct which is wrong is termed as wrong conduct.
So you see, so we are discussing the wrong conduct only. Only thing is that we are considering the external objects. Okay. So in the first level, we discussed about the external objects which are far from our body and karma. In the second level, we considered the karma. And now here, even the karmas are also not worth having a feeling of attachment and aversion, because this karma, they do not do anything on their own, because they are inanimate matter particles. They don't have any sense or desire to give pleasure or pain to somebody. Okay. Moreover, they on their own do not turn into karmic form, but assume the karmic form due to the instrumentality of his impure dispositions. Okay. So the external objects are also not the cause. The karmas are also not cause, but our own impure disposition is the cause of our manifesting feeling of attachments and aversions. Okay. So why this impure disposition rise? Can anyone tell me what would be the next level of descriptive knowledge? From the chart of viewpoint, you can easily make out, these three levels. First, rag is the impure disposition. No? That is the third level, right?
What's the question, sir? What is the question you asked? Can you repeat that question you asked?
Yes, I said ki first we remove the external objects to be the cause of our pleasure and pain, right? Because external objects are objects only. They are not good or bad to us. Okay, that was the first. The second was they brought in the karmas in between, and they said that because of the karma, auspicious karma, you get good associations, and because of inauspicious karma, you get bad association. Then the question came, so should we have attachment, aversion feeling in the karmas? So they said no, karmas are inanimate matter particles. They have no desire to give pleasure or pain. Okay. Moreover, they on their own do not turn into karmic form, but assume the karmic form due to the instrumentality of his impure disposition. So the main reason of our sorrow is this impure disposition. Because of this impure disposition, we are having the feeling of attachments and aversions. Now, what would be the next level of discriminative knowledge? How do we go to our soul from this disposition? That is the question.
That is, we should get rid of that moha. Moha. Moha, that only produces the raga and dvesh.
Right. Anyone else?
So thinking that you're neutral in every phase of your, whatever happens to you in your life, whether it is good or bad, you always think that you are on a neutral phase. Nothing is affecting you, or nothing is, nothing good is happening to you, and nothing bad is happening to you. So I think if you are in that phase, probably that's the best phase, I believe.
So we can.
Yeah, Jinpriya.
Soul needs to look at all these are just paryay or modifications of its different things, and all the associated kashayas and whatever the anger, the four types of major ones, and the no kashaya. If we are able to eliminate, then probably the next level of knowledge,
Hmm.
at least that step would occur.
Okay, good try. But what would be the cause of removing this impure disposition or passions that you just said? What could be the cause? How we can remove this impure disposition? Because from external objects, we came to karma. From karma, we ruled out that karma is also the not cause of our sorrow. So what would be the cause of our sorrow? Then we said that it is impure disposition. Now, what would be the next level of discriminative knowledge? How we go from impure disposition to our soul?
Belief
So
in the elements, belief in the seven tattvas,
yes.
and then we go forward and
Hmm.
we get Samyak Darshan
Hmm.
and we move forward.
So how do we get Samyak Darshan? Because so far, first we considered the external objects to be the cause of our sorrow. And then the second level, we discussed karma, that it is not the external objects, but it is all depending on the karma. And in the third level, we removed karmas also and considered our impure disposition to be the cause of our pleasure or pain.
By removing the false belief, delusions,
That is
yeah,
what Srika said.
more
But
Charitra,
exactly
more
what you have to
darshan.
do. Yeah, what you have to do to manifest Samyak Darshan. So when you take
Purusharth.
shelter,
Be with yourself.
yeah, when you take shelter in your soul,
Self, taking shelter.
yeah, when you take shelter in your soul, this impure disposition will not rise only, right? And that is the way to get rid of this impure disposition. And that is the point of self-realization, Samyak Darshan, okay? So these are the three levels of practicing discriminative knowledge. So initially we ruled out the external objects, then we brought the karma in between. So karma did that much thing that now you are not considering external object as the cause of your sorrow, okay? And when then we move to the next level, we said that karmas are also immaterial because those are inanimate matter particles. They don't have desire or they are not capable of giving pleasure or pain to anybody. Then these karmas are also, these karmas comes to us only when we manifest impure disposition. And now to get rid of impure disposition, we have to take shelter in our soul, which is not mentioned here. Here it is just up to this only. So considering some objects as desirable or undesirable, some karmas as desirable or undesirable, and some impure disposition is not the cause. Okay. So the to be happy, we have to take shelter of our soul. Then this impure disposition will not only manifest, and that is the time that you become happy. Okay, so that this self-realization is not mentioned here, but the next step would be that self-realization. For example, if someone breaks his head by picking stone in his hand, then what is the fault of the stone? Okay, so people consider, like, because of delusion, we consider stone as the cause of our breaking of head, but actually stone is not the cause. Okay, there is no fault in the stone, it is our own fault. And what is our own fault? That we have forgotten ourselves. We have forgotten that we are soul, observer. And just because we forgot our original nature, that's why this impure disposition gets manifested. Okay. So this is the complete process of practicing discriminative knowledge. You come step by step inside. Okay. So first level, then second level, then third level. And by the time you get rid of, overcome the third level, you experience self-realization. And that is only possible when you take shelter in your self. And that is the time you don't manifest impure disposition. But you will manifest happiness. But since we are considering here the case of an individual who is a mundane existence, so there is no discussion on self-realization here, but for our own understanding, we have completed the picture. Similarly, if this jiva harms himself by turning the matter particles into karmic form by means of his attachments, etc., impure disposition, then what is the fault of the karmas? Okay. Therefore, it is wrong to entertain the feeling of attachment, aversions in karmas even. Okay, that is the conclusion. Thus, so these three levels are over. Thus, having attachment, aversion, feeling in other objects. So in other objects, first we discussed external objects, then we considered karma, and the third one we consider the impure disposition. All these are other objects. They fall into the category of other objects. By considering them good or bad is wrong. Had the other objects been good or bad, and if we used to feel attachment and aversions towards them, then it would have not been termed to be wrong. Then it would have been correct, because the other object is good or bad. So naturally, if it is good, you develop a feeling of attachment. If it is bad, you develop a feeling of aversion. But the main cause is that the objects itself are not good or bad. And we consider some object as good or bad. That is the chief cause of our misery. That is the chief cause of our manifesting attachments and aversions. Those objects are not good or bad, but this jiv, mundane being, entertains the feeling of attachment, aversion towards them by considering them good or bad. That is why this type of conduct is described to be wrong. And the conduct which is wrong is termed as wrong conduct. So we are just discussing the nature of wrong conduct. So we have discussed two topics now. Now coming on to the third topic, constitution and growth of rag dvesh. So how one feeling of attachment leads to other feelings, and that other feeling leads to again other feelings. So there is a chain or series of emotions building up in ourselves just because of wrong conduct. Okay. Now this constitution and growth of rag dvesh, just understand how do we manifest rag dvesh. Okay. And if you understand this, then you will be able to find a way where you are not manifesting attachments or aversion, that is rag or dvesh. Okay. So how this grows, that is being depicted here. Here growth means expansion. Okay. Okay. So Rajeshri ji, you read.
Constitution and growth of rag and dvesh. Now the constitution of and growth of attachment and aversion, dvesh, in this jeev are being analyzed. Primarily, this jeev is possessing I-ness, feeling in the embodied form. So he acts by knowing self and body to be one. When a pleasurable condition is produced in this body, agreeable to self, he feels attachment in it. And when an unpleasurable condition is produced, disagreeable to self, he feels aversion in it. He feels attachment in the external objects, which are the cause of pleasurable state of the body, and develops aversion in the destroyers of that state. And he develops aversion in the external objects, which are the cause of unpleasurable state of the body, and feels attachment in the destroyers of that state. And further, he develops attachment in those objects which are the instrumental cause of the external objects, and feels aversion is their destroyers. And further develops aversion in those objects which are the instrumental cause of external objects, in which he has already having aversion feeling and feels attachment in their destroyers. And among these objects also, in which he feels affection, he entertains the feeling of aversion, attachment in other objects, acting as the associating cause and destroyers of them. And the objects in which he has developed aversion, he entertains the feeling of aversion, attachment in the other object, acting as the associating cause and destroyers of them. In this way, the tradition of attachment aversion continues. Further, in those many external objects which are not the cause of producing any condition in the body, in them too he feels attachment aversion. For example, nothing good of the body is caused to the cows, etc., from its calves. Even then, they, the cows, etc., feel affection in them, and nothing bad to the body is caused to the dogs, etc., from the cats, etc. Yet they entertain the feeling of aversion in them. Further, nothing good of the body is caused by perceiving, etc., of many of the colors, smell, words, tune, etc. Even then, this jeev feels affection in them, and nothing bad of the body is caused by perceiving, etc., of many of the colors, etc. Yet the jeev feels aversion in them. In this way, the attachment aversion feeling is so generated towards different external objects. Further, in these objects too, in which he feels attachment, he develops attachment aversion in other objects too, acting as the supporting cause and the destroyers of them. And one object in which he feels aversion, he develops aversion attachment in the other objects too, acting as a supporting cause and the destroyers of them. Similarly, here too the tradition of attachment aversion continues.
Stop. So you see, series of attachment, aversion. So initially, when you consider, it starts with the delusion that self and body are one. Okay. So when you consider the body as your own, then whatever a pleasurable condition is produced in this body, agreeable to self, he feels attachment in it, right? Because he considers those as the cause of his pleasurable condition. So when you consider something beneficial to you, you developed a feeling of attachment to it. And when you feel that something is unpleasurable to myself, then you develop a feeling of aversion in it. Now, the one that is the cause of attachment, so that external cause, okay, that external object, you will feel the one which is a cause of pleasurable feeling, you will develop a feeling of attachment to it. And one which is destroyable to that attachment, okay, which is acting as a which acts as an instrumental cause of aversion, then you develop a feeling of aversion to that. Okay. So एक चीज से राग किया तो उसका जो कारण है ना, उससे भी राग, फिर उसका जो कारण, उससे भी राग. So this is chain of feeling of attachments and aversion. This goes on, and this is how there is the growth of attachments and aversions. Okay. So the chief cause is delusion, and because of delusion, you feel some objects to be desirable, pleasurable, and some objects to be undesirable or painful. But in reality, no object is beneficial or unbeneficial. It is because of our wrong knowledge and wrong faith, we consider some objects to be cause of pleasure and some as the cause of pain, right? But in reality, it is not so. So the one where we develop a feeling of attachment, its instrumental cause, we again develop a feeling of attachment to it, because it is, I consider it to be beneficial. So whatever the reasons are for that association, I will consider them as I will have attachment to those things. And one which is harmful to that association, I will develop a feeling of aversion to that. So this chain goes on and on, series goes on and on, okay? And this is how our we expand the feeling of attachment and aversion to so many different causes. But in reality, there is nothing to develop a feeling of attachment and aversion, right? Because external objects are objects only. How can that be cause of our attachment and aversion? But because of our wrong faith and delusion, we consider some objects to be desirable or agreeable, and some to be undesirable or unagreeable. And that is the chief cause of our developing the feeling of attachment and aversion. In this way, it continues. Okay. Further, in those many external objects which are not the cause of producing any condition in the body, okay, those were the causes which are producing the condition in the body. But now these we are discussing of those objects which are not the cause of producing any condition in the body. In them too, he feels attachment aversion. Example: nothing good of the body is caused to the cows, etc. from its calves. Okay. Even then, the cows feel affection in them. गाय को बछड़े से प्रेम होता है, जबकि बछड़ा उसका कुछ भी प्रयोजन सिद्ध करने वाला नहीं है. But there is a tendency of developing a feeling of affection in them. And nothing bad of the body is caused to the dogs, etc. from the cats. Yet they entertain the feeling of aversion in them. So this is some of the natural tendencies that is being discussed here, that we don't have any purpose of feeling aversion to them, but unnecessarily we develop a feeling of aversion, just as in the case of dog and cats. The moment the dog sees a cat, he develops a feeling of aversion in them. There is no cause, And similarly, cow develop a feeling of affection to cows. Okay. So without cause also, we develop feeling of attachment and aversion, which is not required in the first place, and it is not beneficial to us, because our bondage, karmic bondage, is going on and on because of this feeling of attachment and aversions. Okay. So again, the solution will come from, first we have to get rid of delusion. So when we get rid of delusion, we will stop considering something to be beneficial or unbeneficial. That is the first level. Then with further practice of discriminative knowledge, the second level of passion will also go. The third level will also go, and then the fourth level will also go. So it will be a process. It's not that it will go immediately, right? But delusion has to get, we have to get rid of delusion in the first place. So along with delusion, the passions causing infinite bondage will also go. Then 3 levels are left. Then it will go gradually. Okay. Further, nothing good of the body is caused by perceiving, etc. of many of the colors, smell, words, etc. Even then, this jeev feels affection in them. Now, someone likes green color, someone likes blue color, but there is no reason to like it or dislike it, right? So unnecessarily we develop feeling of attachments and aversion when there is no genuine reason to have attachment or aversions. Even then, this jiva feels affection in them, and nothing bad of the body is caused by perceiving, etc., of many of the colors, etc. So colors, smells, words, etc. Okay. Yet the jiva feels aversion in them. In this way, the attachment aversion feeling is generated towards different external objects. Okay. So this is again in the expansion of rag and dvesh. Further, Now again the same series of emotions. Further, in these objects too, in which he feels attachment, he develops attachment aversions in other objects too. Okay. Other objects means which would be a cause of attachment. Okay. So further, in these objects too, in which he feels attachment, he develops attachment aversions in other objects too, acting as the supporting cause, okay, and the destroyer of them. Now I'll give you an example. Now dog has a feeling of aversion to cat. So whoever are friends of cat, the dog will also develop a feeling of aversion to them, okay. And if someone is an enemy of cat, the dog will develop a feeling of attachment to that, right? So similarly, the series of attachments and aversions will go on and go on. And this is how we increase our karmic bondage. There is no logic behind it, but unnecessarily, because of ignorance, because of delusion, we indulge in such activity which are not going to be of any benefit to us. And this is how we are binding endless karma without any purpose, unnecessary. You must have seen that after a cricket match, people keep on discussing about this, that he should have done this, he should have done this, he should have done that. But everything has happened. There is no reason to discuss that. But still people discuss endlessly, and sometimes the discussion turns into fighting and someone kills someone, So unnecessary. These are all unnecessary. And why do these people indulge in this kind of activity? First, because of delusion. Okay. Because of delusion, he feels something to be beneficial and something to be harmful. In reality, no object, no external object is beneficial or harmful to us. Okay. And this particular discussion is all related to our body. They started with body and they move on to other causes, other causes, other causes. So just beginning with body, we have expanded it to so many other objects, the feeling of attachments and aversions without any genuine cause or reason. Okay. Now the question. Jinpriya ji.
Question: the purpose of having attachment aversion feeling in the other non-self objects it is understood. But primarily, what is the purpose of believing good or bad in the basic states of the body and in the objects which are not the cause of the state of the body? Answer: firstly, whatever basic states of the body are there, even in them, if he feels attachment, aversion, keeping the purpose in view, why would it be termed as mithya charitra, wrong conduct? In them, purposefully, he develops the feeling of
Purposeless.
attachment.
Purpose.
Purposelessly, he develops the feeling of attachment aversion, and for the sake of them only, he feels attachment aversion in the other objects. Therefore, all passional modification, all sort of attachment, aversion, etc., are termed as mithya charitra, wrong conduct.
Why wrong conduct? Because in the first place, there is no object which are beneficial or harmful to us, but he considers them that, and that's why it is called mithya charitra or wrong conduct. Okay. Firstly, whatever basic states of the body are there, even in them, if he feels attachment, aversion, keeping the purpose in view. But there is no purpose. Unnecessarily, as I said, keep on discussing on a cricket match when there is no purpose. So in this way, because of our delusion and ignorance, we bind so many endless karmas without any purpose. And that's why it is called mithya charitra or wrong conduct. Okay. Continue.
Question: the purpose of having attached, sorry, a question. This much seems to be clear. that no purpose is served in developing the feeling of good or bad in the state of body and in external objects. Yet, one is not able to abstain from developing the feeling of good or bad in the same. What is the reason? Answer. Owing to the rise of Charitra Moha Karma, the attachment aversion feelings are caused in the jiva. And those feelings cannot be caused without developing association with some object. For example, if attachment feeling is developed, it must be based on some object. If aversion feeling is developed, it too must be based on some object. Thus, there exists the cause and effect relationship between those objects and the attachment aversion feelings. There, the specific point is only this, that many objects are predominantly the cause of attachment feeling, and many other objects are predominantly the cause of aversion feeling. Many objects act as the cause of attachment feeling to someone in some particular time and act as the cause of aversion feeling to someone in some particular time. Here, it should be known that there are many instrumental causes in the evolution of a modification. In the evolution of attachment feelings, the internal cause is the rise of Mohaniya karma. It is the strong cause, and the external cause is the associated object. It is not a strong cause. Due to the feeble rise of Mohaniya karma, the great ascetics do not develop the feeling of attachment aversion in spite of the instrumentality of the external objects. On the other hand, even in the absence of external causes, due to intense rise of Mohaniya karma, the wicked jivas develop the feeling of attachment in those objects by mere imagination. Therefore, attachment, etc., passional dispositions are evolved due to rise of moha karma. There, that external object with the association of which attachment feeling is to be evolved, in that object, without any purpose or with some purpose, attachment feeling is developed. And that external object with the association of which aversion feeling is to be developed, in that object without any purpose or some purpose aversion feeling is developed. Therefore, due to the rise of mohaniya, one is not able to abstain from developing the feeling of good or bad in the objects. In this way, whatever attachment aversion form of conduct is caused due to believing the objects good or bad, that is termed as mithya charitra. And the
Stop.
anger,
Stop.
yeah,
Let me explain. So you understood?
uh,
Owing to the rise of Charitra Mohaniya Karma. Okay. So Charitra Mohaniya Karma could even a right believer also has Charitra Mohaniya Karma. So Charitra Mohaniya Karma goes as far as 10th stage of spiritual development. Okay. The last one is greed, Sukshma Lobh, subtle greed that goes at the end of 10th stage of spiritual development. And in the first time of 12th stage, complete detachment is manifested. Okay. Complete vitrata. Okay. Complete passionlessness. So owing to the rise of charitra moha karma, the attachment aversion feelings are caused to this jiva. Okay. So whatever passions that we manifest, the instrumental cause would always be charitra mohaniya karma. Darshan mohaniya karma does what? It manifests the feeling of wrong belief. Okay. Right? So Charitra Mohaniya karma could be along with Darshan Mohaniya, and even the right believer does have Charitra Mohaniya karma. Okay. So that goes up to 10th stage. So from 4th stage to 10th stage, although he is a right believer, still because of Charitra Mohaniya karma, the attachment aversion feelings are caused. Okay. But here we are discussing only mundane existence. Mundane existence, those who are wrong believer, those who have got wrong belief, wrong knowledge, and their wrong conduct is being discussed. Okay. So it is along with delusion only every time. Okay. Now, owing to the rise of Charitra Mohaniya karma, the attachment aversion feelings are caused to this jiva, and those feelings cannot be caused without developing association with some object. Okay. So without developing association with some object, these feelings will not come on its own, because it is not our nature, right? Manifesting attachment and aversion is not the nature of soul. It is not our inherent nature. But because of our ignorance, delusion, we develop a feeling of attachment to external objects. Okay. And that is so there must be some object on which we develop a feeling of attachment and aversion. For example, if attachment feeling is developed, it must be based on some object. राग होगा तो कोई सामने पदार्थ होगा, कुछ चीज होगी, तभी तो राग होगा. For example, if attachment feeling is developed, it must be based on some object. And if aversion feeling is developed, it too must be based on some object. Thus, there exists the cause and effect relationship between those objects and the attachment aversion feelings. So those objects are the cause, and the effect is the feeling of attachment and aversion. There, the specific point is only this, that many objects are predominantly the cause of attachment feeling, and many other objects are predominantly the cause of aversion feeling. Now my question, which are the objects which are predominantly the cause of attachment?
Body,
Physical,
Huh?
external objects.
relations.
Those we feel as beneficial, right? Those we feel beneficial, there only we develop a feeling of attachment. So and in reality, there is no object which is beneficial or harmful. But because of delusion, we consider some objects to be beneficial, some objects to be harmful. The objects which we feel are beneficial, we develop a feeling of attachment to those objects. Okay. And those which we feel that they are harmful to us, we develop a feeling of aversion to them. Okay. Many objects acts as the cause of attachment feeling to someone in some particular time, and acts as the cause of aversion feeling to someone in some particular time. Yesterday also we took that example of divorce. So when you are getting married, what are the feelings? There's a feeling of attachment. Okay. And when the same person, everything same, now you are having a feeling of aversion to that person. Why? So that means that particular person is not a cause of attachment or aversion, but because of your own misconception or because of your wrong faith, you consider it to be beneficial, right? Here it should be known that there are many instrumental causes in the evolution of a modification. Okay. So any action to take place, there are many instrumental causes. In the evolution of attachment feeling, the internal cause is the rise of monia karma. It is the strong cause, and the external cause is the associated object. It is not a strong cause. Okay. If there is no feeling of monia karma, okay, if there is no charitra monia, rise of charitra monia karma, that same object will not be a cause of attachment to you. We will see that example of a monk. Okay. Due to feeble rise of monia karma, the great ascetics or the monks do not develop the feeling of attachment aversion in spite of the instrumentality of external objects. If someone is inflicting pain on a monk, still he is absorbed in himself and he does not manifest the feeling of attachment and aversion. Okay. So it all depends on the instrumentally cause of monia karma. Okay. On the other hand, even the absence of external causes due to intense rise of monia karma, the wicked jeeves develop the feeling of attachment in those objects by mere imagination. Sometimes you have thought, sometimes sometimes some thoughts comes to your mind that that person is very bad. He he was telling wrong things about me to other people, the person is not there in front of you, nothing is there, but automatically that thought comes, and because of that thought you unnecessarily develop a feeling of either attachment or aversion. There is no reason, because nobody is there, you are alone sitting on your own, and these thoughts crop up and you develop a feeling of attachment and aversion in the same moment. Okay. The wicked jivas develop the feeling of attachment in those objects by mere imagination, kalpana. Therefore, attachment, etc., passional disposition are evolved due to rise of moh karma. Okay. There, that external object with the association of which attachment feeling is to be evolved in that object without any purpose or with some purpose, attachment feeling is developed. Either it is without any purpose or some purpose, attachment feeling is developed. And that external object with the association of which aversion feeling is to be developed in that object without any purpose or with some purpose, aversion feeling is developed. Therefore, due to the rise of monia, one is able to abstain from developing the feeling of good or bad in the objects. In this way, whatever attachment aversion form of conduct is caused due to believing the object good or bad, that is termed mithya charitra. Why it is mithya charitra? Because the object itself is not good or bad, but because you are believing some objects to be good or bad, that's why you are developing the feeling of attachment and aversion in them, and that is termed as mithya charitra. Okay. Now they will be discussing all kinds of passions. Okay. Anger, pride, deceit, greed, and then the 9 quasi passions. Okay. Just read how much time we are left with. In fact, our time is over. So we will discuss this tomorrow. Although I started a bit late, but next week anyways, we will have very little, only 2 pages are left. So anyway, we will be completing in the next class. So I'm not extending anything right now, but there are some questions from Darshit ji and I think Priyanka ji also.
Yeah, Priyanka ji can go first. I don't mind.
Go ahead, Darshuji. I'm listening.
Okay, thanks. Here they keep on talking about objects, but I think it's kind of answered in the last couple of paragraphs. It's not necessarily objects, physical objects only. It could be your
person also.
No, as in like your bhav.
Pardon?
Your bhav, your internal. So it's not necessarily just objects as such. It's also your internal
Emotions,
feeling.
he's telling emotions.
Yeah,
Yes.
emotions.
Yes. That is also included in object.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
As I said, there was nobody in front of you, but a certain thought crop up in your mind and you started manifesting attachments and aversion unnecessarily without any purpose. So these things also happen, and those are also the cause of feeling attachment and aversion.
So psychic emotions, basically.
Yes, psychic emotions, right.
Okay, thank you.
So external objects, karma, psychic emotions, 3 levels we discussed today in the beginning itself, right? So all these 3 are the cause. Unnecessarily we develop the feeling of attachment and aversion, but in reality, it is not so. And that is just because of wrong faith, wrong knowledge, and wrong conduct, mithya charita. So we'll continue. Priyanka, do you have any doubts?
Sir, I had 2 doubts, but I'm not sure, sir, if we have time, or I can hold it off till next class also, sir. I mean,
Just tell we have time. We can 10 o'clock right now, and we started, so we can finish it off in the next 5 minutes. No problem.
Okay. So, sir, I basically just want to ask, like, the last topic that we discussed about this aversion thing, is it something to do with, like, sometimes we meet certain people, we haven't met them before, but, like, we feel like I, I don't vibe with this person, like, I don't gel with this person more.
Right,
Like, that although that person has done nothing to me, so
right.
does that have to do anything with, like, older, like, previous janam,
Yeah,
previous life cycle?
yeah. We are all connected just because some connections from previous birth only. That's why we all come in contact, and whatever our lane then are left over that we complete. That's all. Whether it is unknown persons or known persons, the process is same. Okay. So
So,
there could be many factors, and this is also one of the factors. But
okay. And so the other question I wanted to ask, where you were asking the question, like, what is the cause of uh, uh, dispositions? So, sir, that I got lost a bit, because I understand, like, okay, objects have nothing. Like, for example, XYZ person, I thought that XYZ person was, mean to me, for example. Now, discriminative knowledge tells me that person actually doesn't have any effect on me. That's a soul. It's a different, a jeev has no power over me. It's possibly due to the rise of karma. No, it is possibly due to the rise of my karmas. Correct?
right.
So that I'm feeling disposition of maybe aversion. Like, I
Okay.
don't like this person, or I'm having a wrong faith, belief that this person did harm to me.
Right.
Now, where did that thing come from? Because if we say karmas are karmic particles, and they don't have any, like, themselves, they don't have any intention, they themselves are inanimate, they can't do anything. So I understand, okay, rise happens, so this happens, but in the first place, why am I getting that disposition? For me to be
So
understanding, okay, I'm
that
a
we
soul, I
discussed, no,
should stay
because
soul.
you forgot yourself, you forgot your own nature, of knowing and seeing. Okay. And you believe some objects to be good and bad, and that is where the series of feeling of attachment and aversion begins. But in reality, there is nothing good or bad. Whether it is object or person, it is immaterial. Even our disposition, okay? Dispositions are dispositions, right? Why would we consider it to be a cause of our misery, right? We can
True. Yeah.
always know
Yeah.
them. We can always know them, right? But what we
Yeah.
do, we consider that this should not happen, this, that, because of our delusion. We believe that this should be done in this way, this should have been done this way. That is our own assumptions. But in reality, whatever has to happen will happen, right? So you have now you have two choices. Either you manifest attachments and aversions unnecessarily without any purpose. The second is, in the same situation, you can still be happy, right?
Neutral.
By becoming a knower only. You know, someone has done bad to you, you just know it, no? Right? And as you said, ki, we can bring karmas also in between. That is also one level of descriptive knowledge. So first level is external objects. From external objects, we move to karma. From karma, we move to dispositions, impure dispositions. And now to get rid of this impure disposition, which is the last level, we have to take shelter in our soul. So this impure disposition will not rise in the first place. And that is the way of
Okay.
eliminating impure disposition. So there is only one
Okay.
way where you can be happy, and that is taking shelter in yourself.
Okay. So, sir, just to put it into practice, for example, if I'm driving and I feel like someone cut me off,
Right.
so of course I got irritated. Then what I would first see, okay, first I look at the other driver, thinking that's the person at fault. then I will see probably मेरा कर्म ऐसा था
Right.
that I was meant to be cut off.
You can apply 4 exposition, all 4 exposition there, and you will get a balance.
Okay.
Right. So what we were discussing right now is the Dravyan Yoga, Ved Gyan, right? But
Okay.
you can also consider Karnan Yoga exposition, wherein there is a rise of karma, and because of that, that fellow cut your path and you unnecessarily felt irritated, right? So karma is also
Okay.
a cause, and then for Charnan Yoga, you were not very, I would say, alert, right? If you would have been,
Okay.
he would not have been able to cut you, right? But you
Yeah.
will casual in your approach in driving. So he got the space, and because he got a space, he tried to overtake you or whatever. So that is
Okay.
Charnan. So Dravyan Yoga, Charnan and Pratman Yoga also, all the great people, they also face such similar situation in their life.
Okay,
Sita,
sir.
Lakshman, Ramchandra ji, there's so many examples. Everyone has suffered in their life, and by these sufferings only the karmas get either it comes into rise and go away, otherwise it doesn't come into fruition and it automatically goes away. So
Okay.
from Pratman Yuga, we can consider the events happening in all the enlightened souls also. Those who have
Okay.
liberated, So when you consider any situation from the perspective of 4 exposition, then your answer is complete. Even if you only consider karma, then it is still not complete. Even if you consider the one that we discussed from Dravyan Yoga, that taking shelter in your soul, that is still incomplete. But when you have all the 4 at one place, then you have the complete answer, and that is the time that you feel neutral.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
So you have to try to apply all the 4, although we cannot talk all the 4 at same time. So we can discuss one thing at a time. But in our thought process, in our knowledge, we can consider all the 4 factors together, all the 4 expositions together, and that will take you in a very happy space because you are knowing all the causes. So this is how you develop, practice the science of discrimination. Right?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, so we'll continue next week, and that will be the last class before we take a break for 2 weeks. Okay. निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना 7 बार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना 7 बार है।